So the next thing I'm going to do is signing, but my sign language. But before I do that, I'm going to have you guys watch a short YouTube video. The artist who created this song, I wanted you to understand the story behind the song before I sign it, so you'll understand the emotion behind it.
It's the Morning Cruise. Dave, Bill, and Carmen here at the Joy FM.
That was Burn the Ships. Luke, we were talking off the air, and I do want to tell the story because the last time I saw you a couple years ago, I was driving you back from the show back to the hotel, and a lot of the stuff with Courtney was fresh. It was just it had just happened, and I know that that's what this song was inspired by. So just share a little bit of that.
Yeah. So when my wife was Courtney was pregnant with our second son Phoenix, she was having kind of debilitating nausea, and she went to the doctor and was like, "Hey, I've got another child. I've got a kind of baby wrangle here. Is there anything we can do about the nausea?" And they said, "Yeah, just take some of this medicine, and you should be great." And for about 6 weeks, it was very good and very effective. And after that 6 weeks, though, it kind of wore off and it wasn't doing what it needed to do anymore. And so she went back, and they said, "Well, we'll just increase your dosage, and we'll give you more of the medicine." And I was in Austin, Texas, for a show. And she called me quite frantically and was like, "Hey, I need you to come home." Yeah. And I'd never gotten that phone call prior to that. And I said, "Okay, well, what's going on?" And she said, "Well, I've been taking these pills, and I just can't stop taking them anymore." And so I got on a plane, went home, come in the back door, see Courtney, and I'm like, "You okay?" And she says, "Well, I'm okay right now." But as the night progressed, she started saying things like, "I know the doctors have said I can't take this medicine anymore, but what if I just take one more pill to get me through the night, and then we can deal with this tomorrow?" And I could see her hands start to tremble, and I realized at that point, we got a problem. And the next morning we get up, and we go to a mental health facility, and we walk into the waiting room, and you're kind of in a strange facility in and of itself, and there's nobody around, and nobody in the waiting room. We were the only people there, and a nurse eventually comes back and says, "Hey, Courtney, will you come on back?" And so we both get up to go together. And, the nurse looked at me and said, "Luke, you don't get to come. You got to stay out here." And it was something about the isolation and the loneliness of that moment that, I don't think I'll ever forget that. Yeah. And she comes back out soon after that. And they said, we recommend an intensive outpatient therapy for about 2 weeks. And so that's what we did drop her off at 9 a.m. in the morning, come pick her up at 2 p.m. And we did that for 2 weeks. Yeah. And she had shown so much improvement in 2 weeks that they said, you don't need to come back here. You're discharged, and this is the beginning. You need to continue on. But we were at home one particular night, and she had this bottle of pills in her hand. And she said, "Luke, I need to go and flush these pills because these pills represent so much shame and so much guilt in my life." And I was reminded of a story about an explorer who went to a foreign land. And when he arrived in this land, he said to his men, he said, "Hey, we're going to go explore the horizon. We're going to go explore the mountains. We're going to go see what this land has for us to offer." And he realized at that point that none of his men wanted to follow him. They just wanted to go back to the dirty confines of those ships, not because it was good, but because they were comfortable there. And so he waits a few days and calls all his men back onto the shoreline again. He says, "I want every single man on this shoreline." And as soon as he's got all of his men accounted for, he gave his generals the command to burn the ships. Because he says, "We will not retreat, we will not go back, but we'll move into our future. We'll see what this land has for us." And for my wife, when she took those pills and she flushed them, that was her moment of burning the ships. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. Thank you. Joel and Luke are with us this morning.
So I'm going to go ahead and sign the song that they just talked about.
How did we get here? What comes to wait on a lonely shore? can see in your eyes, dear. It's hard to take for a moment more. We've got to burn the ships, cut the ties, send a flare into the night. Say a prayer, turn the tide, dry your tears and wave goodbye. Step into a new day. We can rise up from the dust and walk away. We can dance upon the heartache, yeah. So light a match, leave the past, burn the ships, and don't you look back. Don't let it arrest you. This fear of falling again. And if you need a refuge, I will be right here until the end. Oh, it's time to burn the ships, cut the ties, send a flare into the night. Say a prayer, turn the tide, dry your tears and wave goodbye. Step into a new day. We can rise up from the dust and walk away. We can dance upon the heartache, yeah. So light a match, leave the past, burn the ships, and don't you look back. So long to shame, walk through the sorrow, out of the fire, into tomorrow. So flush the pills, face the fear, feel the weight disappear. We're coming clear.